Have you ever felt like that when you're out looking at homes and you just swear to God somebody's watching you? Well, this is happening more and more in our real estate markets. Is it legal? Let's find out. In Minnesota and Wisconsin, you may be surprised to know that it is not legal to use electronic means to intercept an oral communication when it is made with the reasonable expectation that it should remain private. Now, what does that mean? A private conversation would mean that you are not a part of it. So the seller who's doing the recording of the motion and the sound is not a part of that conversation. The conversation is between the buyer and his agent. There is exception to that law. Of course, a seller who is a party to the conversation can secretly record. If the seller's in communication with the agent and the buyer, then that's okay, because see, he's not outside of that circle of privacy. A big caveat to remember as sellers, don't you dare put that video camera in the bathroom or somewhere where people are taking their clothes off. Shame on you, don't go there, okay? Another thing to keep in mind is those tricky Ring doorbells. They have a 180-degree radius and they can detect conversation over 200 feet. Rule of thumb is when you get out of your car, zip it right up until you get back in your car. If you think that this is a home that you are just going to love, I wouldn't say peep in it. Take your notes, work with your agent, and write things down. When you get in your car, you can talk about it, okay? That's really, really, really the best way to remain private with your conversations. Here's in Minnesota's exclusive right to list, right to sell. It says, lines 103 to 106, the seller understands that Minnesota Statute 626A-02 specifically prohibits the interception of, again, oral communications without the consent of at least one of the two parties to the communication. Seller should seek appropriate legal advice regarding compliance with the statute if seller intends to utilize technology that may intercept oral communications between persons other than the seller. Why is that? Well, because there's so many legalities to buying a home and selling a home. One of the biggest is fair housing issues. We do have laws that protect people against discrimination of race, color, national origin, religion, sex, familial status, and disability. Let's not also forget that a home costs a heck of a lot of money. That buyer has to get up for 30 years and go to work to pay for it. We wouldn't want them to have an unfair advantage over something that costs so much. So it really keeps just the playing field much more level. So in short, it's generally okay to have a video camera on in your home. It's the recording that gets you in trouble, the recording of the audio. So, however, if you're going to have showings in open houses, you should adjust your camera settings to not record the audio. Does that make sense? So if you want to have these video cameras on when there's showings taking place, it's my understanding from what I've read today, it's A-okay to have it on. Just shut off the audio. The audio is what gets you in trouble. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a shout. Thank you so much. It's Roxy the Realtor.